The views, information, or opinions expressed during this show are solely those of the individuals presenting them and do not necessarily represent those of That Fuzzing Rock Show or its creators and writers. Cancel context, not humor. Enjoy the show. Good Thursday evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, degenerates of all ages. Welcome to a pretty special, and I'm not even going to keep the camera off. I'm going to cut the camera off for this one. A very, very special That Fuzzing Rock Show this evening. I had the chance to sit down with none other than bass player extraordinaire Billy Sheehan. It was absolutely amazing, guys. Great interview. It's coming in just a couple of minutes. I do have to thank Helderberg Meadworks for being our amazing sponsor. Could not do the show without them. They help us out quite a bit. So thank you to Helderberg Meadworks. 2 locations, Troy and Esperance, and you guys can check out a bunch of different meads there, and 2 especially that are near and dear to my heart. The Brick by Brick Pillage is there, and also Blood of the Wasted from the Erotics. Both of them have meads there. And at each location on the menu is something called the Fuzz Buzz. That is a drink that I feel great about it. They named it after me, which is really cool of them, and I appreciate it. But listen, they help us out, so we definitely appreciate the sponsorship and the love that they give us. I'm not going to waste any time, guys. I'm going to get right into it. We're gonna run this interview. Please enjoy it as much as I did, because I had a great time doing it. So, without further ado, Billy Sheehan, check it out, guys. You're not going to believe this one. This one's actually an honor for me. I've been excited about this ever since I got the email for it. We're going to welcome to the show none other than Billy Sheehan. Billy, how are you, brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, it's my pleasure. Believe me, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. I know you're a busy man anyways, but I know right now with the album coming out, tour starting, I know you're busy. So thanks for taking the time. We'll get right into it. We're going to talk about the new album from the Winery Dogs. It's called 3 or 3 Sticks, but I'm going to say 3. It's out February 3rd. Check your platforms for availability. And at the end, I'll get all the links and stuff for the folks so they know where they're going to get it. And also, like I said, you got the tour kicking off February 15th in Pennsylvania, and we will get to all that and then some in just a couple minutes. But first, I want to start out talking about you a little bit, Billy. What actually got you started in music?
Well, I had older brothers and sisters, so they were always listening to things that were ahead of me. I was the little kid, and so I got to hear a lot of great music pre-Beatles, American rock, Everly Brothers, Jerry Lee Lewis, things like that.
Sure.
Just in general, rock and music was intriguing and exciting to me. And then around the corner from me, there was a family that had 2 boys, and they were brothers, and they in local bands, and they were pretty popular. Some of the most popular local bands around Buffalo in the mid '60s there. And one of them was a bass player, Joe, and he's still my dear friend. And I wanted to be like Joe because he was a cool guy.
Right.
Well, why not combine my love of music with the possibility that someday it might be cool, though that hasn't happened yet. I got interested in bass. He was a bass player. And then the Beatles came out and everything changed. Then the whole world went crazy and everybody had to have a guitar or a bass or drums.
Right.
In the summertime, you'd walk down the street block after block and you'd hear a band in the distance. As you'd walk and get closer, they get louder, you get past them, you get quieter. And the next band, you'd hear them. We literally could drive down the street and see drum kits set up in people's homes.
Oh, shit.
Music and bands. And that was the atmosphere I grew up in. So it was just everybody wanted to be in a band, play something and be in a band. Or just be a mega fan of every band there is. So
sure,
it was a great situation to grow up in because it was all about music all the time.
Yeah, I miss those days, believe me. So I'm going to ask you some kind of rapid fire questions real quick. Do you remember what your first instrument was?
Actually, the first instrument I ever played was drums.
How about the first band you were ever in?
It was Well, there was kind of partial almost bands,
Mhm.
but the first band was him. I don't think we ever had a name. It was Ray Schmaltz was the B3 player. He was blind from birth. Uh,
Wow.
Paul Campanello was the singer, great singer, still around today. John Zagaria played drums, and I played bass, and we did all the Young Rascals songs.
Do you remember your first gig?
Yeah, it was at Saint Amelia's uh, basement of their church. They had a youth center. We
Mhm.
played down there. Well, my first real paying gig was with my band Opus One, which was a horn band, 4 horns, 3 singers, guitar, bass, drums, keyboard. We played at the Beef and Ale House, 11 guys in the band, so I made $7.
You're making a couple bucks more these days, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm up to 850.
Stop. You know what? You've made it, sir. You've made it. So, do you remember the first big show that you played that you noticed a transition from small stage to like, holy shit, this place is a barn? Like, do you remember that one gig?
Yeah, well, we did a lot in the early days of Talus where we played some pretty big shows, even on our own. And then when we started to do openers for other bands, we're kind of used to it. We had a lot of good stage experience. We came up from tiny little places where we're set up in the corner to pretty big, 1,000-seaters and more
Mhm.
on our own. So the transition was slow enough that there wasn't some shocking thing. So by the time we got out, and let's say in 1980 opened for Van Halen, we were ready to go. We could get up on deck and do our thing and make it work. It wasn't foreign to us. We had like I said, gone from tiny little clubs and high
Sure.
school dances all the way up to big shows. So it was such a gradual transition. I didn't really notice the shock of it, but
Right.
but we did get to play some huge shows. My biggest show ever was with Mr. Big in Sao Paulo, outside of Sao Paulo, Brazil, at Santos Beach, in front of about 100,000 people.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
That's got to be intense, huh?
It was insane. We were there with it was our first time to Brazil. Unknown to us, they were using our songs during daytime soap opera, so everybody knew who we were. We had no
Oh,
idea.
nice.
We'll have to probably play down here for a few years before they get to know who we are. So
Mhm.
they all knew apparently, and we played with. It was a local band, the Lemonheads, Henry Rollins, and Mr. Big. That was the lineup. And the local band got done, and I went out of the dressing room to look at the crowd. And man, there's a lot of people here on the beach. It's unbelievable. Lemonheads went on, had a great show. Man, there's a lot of people here. And Henry Rollins got done. I was thinking, this is chaos out there. It's
Right.
out of control. And we had a line of police in front of us and the security barricade. And we went up on stage, and they went out of their minds. It was one of the most amazing shows ever in our lives. Then the show was coming near an end, and it was getting dark, and we see bonfires off in the distance, and it's just a sea of humanity, and everybody's going crazy and nuts. And just before we were about to do our last song, the police left, never gone. And
Oh,
it was just
Jesus.
us and the crowd. We thought, uh-oh, but they were great. The crowd wasn't any threat.
Sure. Yeah.
Anytime you get that many people around, a lot of crazy things can happen. So as we're playing, I could see off in the distance, they sent the army in. The military trucks came in
Oh, wow.
to disperse the crowd of the end because there were so many people.
Sure.
So it was quite an experience playing in front of a crowd like that. And
Oh, that's
we've
awesome.
been lucky to do that many times in a lot of bands I've been in. So we're very grateful.
There you go. Now you talked about some of the other bands you've been in. I'm not going to go through them all because you seem to have a very extensive resume. Your resume looks like the who's who of rock and roll. Basically, you've played with a ton of people, and there's not enough time to cover them all. So I'm going to talk about some of the biggies real quick, starting with Talus. When did Talus first form?
About 1972, 72 around there. We were there was a local Buffalo band, and it kind of fell apart. A few guys wanted to start something else, so one guy got together with me and another drummer, and I think Talus was the name of a horse or something. Who knows? It came out of some obscurity. and we just played copy bands in clubs, and that's what we did. And the greatest training in the world: the Beatles, Van Halen, AC/DC, everybody there. If you're in a copy band, you're in good hands, and
Right, right.
up for a good future. So we played every kind of music you could imagine. We played Three Dog Night, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Hendrix, Charles, Stones, Beatles, Grand Funk, you name it. We probably played it. So that was a great way for us to start. And then we went on and started to sneak a couple originals in. And then it was 50-50 and then 75-25. And then pretty soon we started doing records and got up into the mid 80s. And there was about 9 versions of Dallas, actually. But it ended in 85 when I left to go to LA. And that's why we called the new Talus record 1985, because it was all the songs from that year that I left behind and went off to do my thing. So
that's cool.
The new Talus record 1985 came out last year, and was incredibly successful. We did really good with it. Good. So that was the last probably the last recording you'll hear from Talus. We may end up doing some shows. Sadly, our lead singer passed away right after that record was done.
Right.
We may still do a couple shows, especially for his honor.
Do you have a favorite Talus album?
Well, the Sink Your Teeth Into That was really, I enjoyed that record a lot. The producer got a great bass tone. Songs were righteous. Vocals were righteous. But this latest one, 1985, it's got a special place in my heart because our singer, Phil, just went up to the mic and delivered like never before, knowing that he had a health issue and that it was not looking good. So the fact that his bravery and just personal strength to get up and do that, and man, he delivered. So
that's awesome.
1985 is a special place in my heart.
So I'm going to skip over some pretty big names: Tony McAlpine, Greg Howe, among others. You did a stint with David Lee Roth in the late 80s. Tell us a little bit about that.
Started in 85. Dave called me to start a band with him. And I told him about a guitar player I knew named Steve. And Steve and I recruited Greg Bissonette. We went off on the Eat 'Em and Smile album and tour. And that was an amazing adventure for all of us. Incredible memories. And I still get email about it every day.
How was it working with Steve Vai? Because he seems like he's just, I mean, your playing style is almost as a percussionist on the bass. You're all over it. You're hitting, tapping, like you're amazing. And Vi just seems to play it so effortlessly. It's like, how was it working with Steve?
Oh, we meshed together really well. We were both big Frank Zappa fans, Bowie fans, Hendrix fans. So we had a lot of common ground on what we liked and what we were into and listening to. And we're still dear friends to this day. We've played together in recent years a lot. And we always have a wonderful time together. Myself, Greg, and Steve communicate a lot together. So it's a wonderful, wonderful people.
So now we'll talk about Mr. Big a little bit too, because that was one of my favorites. One of my favorites that you were in. And I think, I mean, musically for Mr. Big, you guys had, first of all, the harmonies are unbelievable.
Thank you.
And just the way everybody's kind of a master of their instrument is another thing. Even the vocals, drums, all that stuff. How was it with Mr. Big?
Well, I left Dave and wanted to start a band, and I knew Pat Torpy. I knew Paul Gilbert. We went looking for a singer. I found Eric, and for great fortune, Eric was associated with a manager named Herbie Herber, who's a music legend. He put Journey together. He was the guy that said, "Why don't we sell T-shirts at the show with the band's name on them?" Before that, I went to see Hendrix, and there was no merch. You know, that was a relatively new thing.
Right.
So he was one of the founding fathers of many aspects of the music business, and so he managed the band brilliantly, and that was a huge part of our success. His guidance, and we also had all four guys that could sing, all four guys that could write, all four guys that were had a good handle on their instrument, and our singer Eric, just a brilliant voice and fantastic songwriter, and Paul and I and Pat wrote as well a lot of songs, and it was just a great experience. A real easy band. We didn't. It wasn't. No drug, alcohol things. I've never been in a band that's really had any drug, alcohol problems ever.
Good.
I like to have a couple of drinks here and there, but I've never,
Mhm.
I haven't even had an aspirin since '71. I'm a non-drugger, so
Good. That's good though.
so there was it was pretty smooth sailing, and sure enough, second album comes along, and To Be With You starts organically going up the charts all on its own, bang, bang, bang. Never, thing you know, it's in top 40, top 30, top 20, top 10. Then we were behind Prince and Michael Jackson to jump into the #1 spot, and sure enough, we jumped ahead and we got it. And that was an amazing thing. I always say to people, have a hit record, have a #1 single. Man, it's going to change your life like you could never imagine.
Greatest feeling, I'm sure.
And it did. And it took us all over the world. We went everywhere. And to this day, I mean, I get more email from Indonesia, from all over Europe, from Africa, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran,
Wow.
everywhere, India, all over to the reach that Mr. Big had. And it was an incredible experience. Video was #1, single was #1 for 3 weeks. And then we had another hit after that with Just Take My Heart. And then the next album we had a cover of Wild World by Cat Stevens, which was a top 40 hit as well. So just an incredible success, and great people, great memories. And we were very enriched and became world travelers.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So,
Now, do you have a favorite Mr. Big song?
maybe tough to pick one, because like your kids, it's which one of your kids do you like the best?
Right.
I like them all. To Be With You was an amazing song. People might think I want something fast and loud, but I got to give it up for that song. It was just the moment we heard it as the demo, I said, we got to do this. We loved it right away. Had no idea it was going to be a hit. We put it last on the record. I mean,
Right.
If we knew it was going to be a hit, we would have released it first, and it would have been the first song.
Sure.
We actually were finished with a tour and headed home to start another record when To Be With You hit. So we actually had to go back and retour every place we'd already played.
Wow.
And so it was a lot of work. But yeah, there's a lot of it was one song called Promise of the Moon. It's a pretty amazing song. And then off the What If record, which is a more recent record, Undertow and Still In Enough for Me. So a couple of songs I really like on that record too. But the Lean Into It record, my big three are Eat 'Em and Smile, Lean Into It, and the first Winery Dogs record. So hopefully 3 will become my big 4.
There you go. I'm a green tinted 60s guy myself.
Yeah.
Green tinted 60s. I love that song.
That song gets a huge response and a huge reaction, and people respond to it very, very well all over. But oddly, it was released as a single and kind of never went anywhere. It's one of those songs that chart-wise and radio play wasn't a hit. But when it comes down to, we play it for an audience, we start that initial guitar thing, the whole place goes.
They go crazy. Yeah.
And everybody sings along. In South America, they sing the solos. They sing along to the solos.
Oh, wow.
They're so familiar with it. Pretty amazing.
So you did some solo stuff. I think 3 albums you put out.
Yes.
What was your inspiration to put solo stuff out?
I got a baritone 12-string guitar, and it was same as a regular guitar, only down way low. And it was a 12-string, and I have a low voice, so I can finally sing lead to songs that have a lower pitch to them. And I guess in the Johnny Cash range, and but not quite as good as Johnny. And so I did my first one. Steve Vai joined me. Terry Bozzio joined me. Second one, I had Ray Luzier from Korn do all the drumming. Third one, I had Doug Pinnick join me on vocals. And Billy Gibbons came and played on a song called A Little Bit'll Do It To You Every Time. And what a what an amazing moment to look out my
I'm
window.
sure.
Billy Gibbons pulls out and walks up to my house with a guitar case, and what an incredible man! And I was a huge ZZ Top fan, huge Billy Gibbons fan. I got hammer-ons, the all that stuff, all that. When I saw Billy Gibbons go, he went and hit a note on the neck with his right hand in 1974. ZZ Top opening up for Alice Cooper, New Year's Eve, Buffalo, New York. I saw that. We all saw it and go, unbelievable. He touched the neck and got a note. So
what
I
the
got
hell was that? Yeah, exactly.
And started figuring out hammer-ons. And but I got it from Billy Gibbons initially. He was the man who inspired me to do that, and many other aspects to the pinch harmonics, the squeak, the little that all came from Billy Gibbons too. So yeah, I owe him a great debt, and he's what a wonderful guy.
Do you have any plans to put any more solo stuff, or?
Yeah, I'm going to do a record with Ray Luzier again. He plays drums with Korn now, and he's just a spectacular player and a dear friend of mine, a neighbor of mine here in Nashville. And but both of us are pretty busy. And this year, and I just talked with our manager last night. He manages both Winery Dogs and Mr. Big, and it's going to be a busy year for the Winery Dogs for sure. We're may even spill into next year. So, but a lot of shows coming up.
So you mentioned I want to get to the wine, because if I don't, I won't. So I have to get to the Winery Dog stuff, because I did have a chance to hear it, and it's absolutely amazing, dude. It's an amazing piece of work. Yeah. How did you guys first get together, Winery Dogs?
Well, Mike and I wanted to do a band together. We'd done a bunch of projects. And I love playing with them, but so let's start a regular band instead of a project. We need a guitar player that sings. So Eddie Trunk heard the conversation, so to speak, in a matter of speaking, and said, "What about Richie Kotzen?" I thought, of course, because I knew Richie. We played together and done a lot of stuff together. So Mike and I went over to Richie's house and started talking for a little bit, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And Richie said, "Well, let's go and play." And he had in a little studio, and he had a bass there and a set of drums, a little drum kit, and we started playing. And right then we had the working parts of a couple of songs that ended up on the very first record, like from the very first moment. You know, automatic chemistry, automatic, easy. Mike is a master of what he does, and
sure is.
So many other aspects of being in a band and things you need to have done and things you need to know. He's great at that. I've been doing it for half a century, and Richie has been doing it a long time too. So we enjoyed it. I remember Richie coming out after and saying to me, "Hey, this could be a really cool band." I think you're right. Let's do it. And so there we went. And that first record came out, and I was just so pleased with it and so happy with it. We toured and toured and toured, played all over the place, did really, really well with it. And we launched. That's how we started.
So the first album was in 2013 with the Winery Dogs, self-titled The Winery Dogs. And now it's 2023. You guys are putting out 3. Tomorrow it comes out. And so how do you think that the sound of the Winery Dogs has evolved from 2013 to 23, or has it pretty much stayed the same in your mind?
There's aspects that stay the same, aspects that are subtracted, and aspects that are added. You know, as you live life, any musician, any player, most at least, will, your life changes and you go through things, and it probably is reflected on your instrument, maybe in ways you don't even notice and you don't even pay attention to. I know I'm a different player than I was 10 years ago, than 15, than 20. With age, there was wisdom. I got the age. I'm not sure about the wisdom, but hopefully. And your relationship with everybody in the band grows and changes, and some things get better, some things go away, and so it's inevitable that a band is going to sound different as you move ahead. Plus, the technology that you're recording with is not the same stuff I recorded in the 70s with.
Right.
So things are going to change in that respect. But fortunately, an underlying sameness is there that makes the band identifiable as a band. And I do believe that we have that string of continuity through everything we do that will make us identifiable as the Winery Dogs. But, and again, around that, many things change. They come and go. On the first record was pretty straight up rock. The second record, we got a little bit more experimental. And I've heard said that this record is kind of a combination of the two. Which, a lot of straight up rock, but there's some twists and turns to it as well. And after having played live so much, that's a huge factor in the way a band sounds and the way a band works. Because for me, what goes on stage live is the most important thing. I often say, I live to play live and I play live to live. That's what I do. That's what I've done from an early age. That's what I'll continue to do for as long as I'm able to stand up, or maybe even do it sitting down if I have to.
There you go.
So as you play, you really grow, and you really weave your styles together, and understand what the other guy's about to do, and know when to jump in on a harmony, know when to back off, when to push forward, right, left, up, down, front, back, all the moves you got to make when you're on stage. And that reflects in the writing and the recording of music as well. So there's a lot of factors at play, and bands do evolve. But like I said, fortunately, there's that string of continuity through it all that identifies it as the band that we have, the Winery Dogs.
So again, the new album 3 from the Winery Dogs, due out February 3rd. Again, folks, check your local, check your streaming platforms for availability. How long did it take for you guys to write the album?
It was quick. We did like 2 writing sessions. Each session was a couple of days. Mike and I flew out to LA, got in there. Just, what do you got? I don't know, a bass line. How about this? Mike would play a beat. Richie would start. Okay, cool. Richie would start some chords. Oh, what are those? Okay, let's, what if I did this behind it? And Mike, and how about if I did this? And just days of that, 3 or 4 days. And then we did it again. And we pretty much had the whole record.
Wow.
I come from a background of playing lots of songs. Back in the copy tune days, we played hundreds and hundreds of songs, all kinds of songs, every kind of style you could imagine. And that helps a lot. The Beatles were a cover band. I've got, I'm no way making any comparison to myself in any way, shape, or form to them, but you see a similarity with all bands. Bands start as a cover band.
Sure.
I got the bootleg of the first Beatles demo that they gave to a record company in England. There's 20 songs on it, not one original. They're all copy tunes. That's what they were. And back then, bands didn't necessarily write for themselves.
Right. Sure.
Elvis never wrote a song, I don't believe. Frank Sinatra never wrote a song, and they were huge in their era.
Mm-hmm.
But the Beatles were one of the first bands. They started doing their own writing. And so if you start out as a copy band, your writing skills are generally positively affected, because you're up there playing copy tunes, and the copy tunes you're playing aren't some deep album cuts. They're all hits to get people up on the dance floor and get people to come in the door and
there you go.
Meet girls and drink beer and watch the band. That's how it used to be. So being in a copy band, and all of us played a lot of copy tunes. I know Mike has, and Richie, not maybe to the extent of Mike and I, but a lot. Mm-hmm. And so it really does help your writing skills to have come through that era of being a copy band. So it may seem super quick to other people that were able to write a record in a short amount of time, but for us, that's about right. And most every band I've been in, seriously does not take a long time to write songs for an album. Right. And most bands I've been in with people that went through years of being in a copy band.
Mm-hmm. So where did you guys record the albums? It was in LA, but where specifically? You have a studio or? At the
Kotzen complex at Richie's house. So a little tiny studio in his house. And, but we got all the modern gear in there that we need. And we did it all there. It was mixed by Jay Ruston. He mixed our first 2 records as well. And I remember when he did the first record, I didn't know him. I knew of him. and he was mixing their record, and they send you the mixes, see what the band thinks. And I remember he sent us about 4 or 5 songs that he mixed. Usually the process is he sends it to the band, we make notes, send it back, change this, do this, got to this, go up, this, down, blah, 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 blah. Goes back to him, he fixes it, sends it back again, and we do more notes, it goes back again, back and forth, back and forth. Well, he sent us the first mix, and we all just went, good, we're good, go with it. We didn't have to correct anything. So he was the man for us, and he's done a great job on Hot Streak, and also on this new record. He really shined. I love the sound of the record. I can hear everything everybody's doing, and so you have the bass is deep and glorious, and Mike Strum's, I hear every nuance of what he does, and Richie's vocals right here, which is as it should be, just beautiful.
Yep. So you guys are also about to start a tour, the U.S., beginning February 15th in Greensburg, PA. Check your venues for the dates near you guys. Are you excited to get back out on the road with the boys? And
I'm exhilarated. I'm so excited. Since the pandemic, I spent almost 3 years since I'd done a proper show. So I'm very, very excited about it, and looking forward to it. And I am ready. We do USA. We do some Europe and South America, then we do more of the USA, and then some more of the USA, and then we do Southeast Asia and Japan, and then it may spill over into next year, our shows, because we got a lot of shows booked everywhere. We released the first leg of the tour. I posted about it, and people were freaking out. Why don't you play here? Why don't you play there? Go, wait a minute. It says right on the bottom with giant letters, more dates coming soon. So
right.
A lot more shows to be announced, TBA. So we're very excited about it.
Awesome. So my last question, do you have a favorite venue to play?
Not really. The scope of venues, Richie and I played 5 shows, 5 Stones shows in Japan. We played the Tokyo Dome, huge arena, just giant. And we were up there on this giant stage, and the closest person was about 50 yards away.
Wow.
So far away, I couldn't even recognize a face. My eyes were pretty big. It was just so giant.
Wow.
And as we're playing, we're thinking, we're looking around each other. Like it's kind of like we're playing all alone here. We'd end a song and hear the roar of the crowd in the background, but I guess they're out there somewhere. And then I played a little place like in, for example, the Baked Potato in Los Angeles. I think it holds 75 people. They always cram in about 125 though. And as I sit I play there with Niacin, and I sit down when I play with Niacin. Tiny little stage, B3 drums and bass, and the tables are right in arm's reach. So I'd often ask them, "Do you mind if I put my beer on your table?" "Oh, thanks a lot." Okay. And they're sitting, literally that close to me as I'm playing, and all gigs in between. They all have their high points, but playing in a small club and an intimate little club where people are close up, that's exciting. We did one show on our first tour with the Winery Dogs in Paris, in this club. It was medium size, but the way it was put together, it was tight and it looked intimate. And there were so many people in there, you couldn't fit another person in unless you cut them in pieces and jammed them in. It was just completely packed, and they went out of their minds. And they were up close. There was no. I always, when I get to a show and we see the stage, there's the barricade that's sometimes like 4, 5, 6 feet. I go, could we move it in? Just get it in closer to the band. I hate it when the audience is farther away than my arm's reach. I'd like people like right there, close. No barricade at all would be even better, but there's a safety issue there. So generally, every tour I end up being the guy causing all the trouble. Could you move the barricade in a little closer? So that intimate thing I really prefer. So there isn't one particular club that comes to mind, but like I said, compare the Enormo Dome, so giant places, to the smaller ones. It is actually more satisfying when you can see people's faces, shake their hand, let them play a couple notes on the bass.
There you go.
It's a lot of fun, and I love performing for people, and I love the interacting and playing for people. We learned early on that the audience is everything, and everything I own, everything I have comes from somebody buying a T-shirt or a ticket or a record, and
Sure.
I do not forget that, and I love my relationship with them. I enjoy being close. So we the smaller venues have more of that.
Very cool. Now, do you have anything else to tell the folks before we wrap up? I've taken way too much of your time as it is.
Oh, well, thank you for spending this time with me. I'm just looking forward to playing live. Like I said, I got 2 Facebook pages, personal and band, and Instagram and Twitter. I post all the info about everything on there, where we're playing, all kinds of stuff. And also a lot of photos of my cat. And even this morning we had some deer out back, so I'll be posting that as well.
There
and
you
my cooking videos as well. But so yeah, join me on social media if you can. And I respond to everybody. It's a gargantuan, Herculean task to do so, but I take the time to, like I said, I value people that they're kind enough to click on me or listen to what I do very much, and I respond to everybody. It just be with a click the heart button or the thumbs up, but I read everything and I respond to everybody. So if you'd like to join me on social media, please do.
That's awesome. So guys, the new one, 3 from the Winery Dogs, it comes out tomorrow, Friday, February 3rd. Again, check your streaming platforms for availability, and you guys can check them out on tour starting February 15th. For more info, you can go to thewinerydogs.com. Facebook, Twitter, Insta, and YouTube are all at the Winery Dogs. So it's always whatever social media you're on / the Winery Dogs, and you will find them. Right on a personal note, Billy, listen, first of all, I thank you for your time. And not if, when this thing goes gold and platinum, there's a spot right there that's open. Don't forget me, okay?
Okay, you got it.
And listen, good luck with the album. Good luck on tour. And thanks again for stopping by. And come back, man. I have so many more questions we could cover, and I'd love to talk to you again.
Sure thing. Well, you probably got the email with my address on there. If not, drop me an email or on social media. Let me know. Send me a link for the show and I can post it, and stay in touch. And if we'll do it again.
For sure, brother. That sounds great. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Sheehan. Thank you, Billy.
Take care.
That was fun. What a great guy. And listen, that is the like the epitome of an interview for me. Because not only was he engaged in the questions, but his answers were so articulate. And thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. They were articulate and thorough, and even went over and above and gave us a story on top of a story. And like, it was just a pleasure, and it flowed. And I am super appreciative of all of his time that he took with me. And I'm appreciative of you guys for coming and hanging out and watching it. So that's going to be it for this week, guys. Don't forget to check out the King's Inn. Every Wednesday night, they have open mic night is there. 6 McDonald Ave, Schenectady, New York. Make sure you guys are going up there, checking them out. Judy, Humpy, and all the folks up there are pretty cool, except for Cass. We all know I can't stand her. And again, Heidelberg Meadworks, thank you for sponsoring the show. Super appreciative of you guys. Could not do it without you. And especially to all you guys for hanging out and having fun. If you guys are just showing up now and missed some of it, hey, you can always check out the replay. Please make sure you drop a like on the video. It helps us out tremendously. Share it with your friends and follow, if you're on the YouTube side, subscribe to the page, ring the bell. Yeah, drop likes on the videos, guys. It helps tremendously. And we appreciate you guys all the time. Yeah, he does keep it rolling. It was an amazing time with him. I am going to go and get something to eat, folks, because I am dying right now. And you know what? I'm not even going to leave it with an offensive thing. I'm just going to say, I'll see you guys next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Put this one in the books. I'm done.